We'll sing now the Durga Mata Chalisa. Okay, in the meantime, let's sing a chant then, or bhajan. Yes. Is that okay? Oh, yeah.
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी
कृपा करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
माँ पार्वती दया 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 करो माँ, माँ लक्ष्मी कृपा करो माँ,
माँ पार्वती दया करो माँ, माँ लक्ष्मी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
शिव शंकरी दया 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 करो माँ, भुवनेश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
शिव शंकरी दया करो माँ, भुवनेश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, भुवनेश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ,
जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी कृपा करो माँ।
bring the mic for the harmonium. No, we use this other one. प्रेम से बोलो श्री जगदीश्वर माता की जय। Tonight, as we come to our closing night, it's been, for many people, a very uplifting time. It's a time when we get a chance to sing, to pray, to love Mataji, to express our love for Mataji. And as we are preparing now to bid her goodbye for this year, we remember the lessons and the teachings that we have learned over the past 8 days, and today the 9th day. And now as we sing chants, as we sing bhajans, as we sing and we recite from the Devi Mahatma for the last time for this Nav Raatri, I ask you to fill our hearts and with love. Tonight is a prayerful night. Tonight is a night of peace, tranquility, serenity, calmness. All of the battles that were going on from last week, those have come to an end. And tonight she will explain why she did what she had to do. So that in mind, let us have a chant, a bhajan, yes? A chant or a bhajan, whichever one you're comfortable with. Low.
दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे,
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 दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे, दुर्गे नाम
का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे।
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम।
हे दाता दानी ओ महारानी, चरणों की तेरे पूजा करो,
हे दाता दानी ओ महारानी, चरणों की तेरे पूजा करो।
तू आज इतना जो दे रही हो,
आ
तू आज इतना जो दे रही हो,
तुमको अनंतम प्रणाम। दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे, दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे।
सुख चैन यश बल देने वाली माँ, युग युग की तेरे हो आरती,
सुख चैन यश बल देने वाली माँ, युग युग की तेरे हो आरती।
नारायणी दुर्गा लक्ष्मी माँ,
आ
नारायणी दुर्गा लक्ष्मी माँ,
तुमको अनंतम प्रणाम। दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे, दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे,
दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे, दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे,
दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे,
दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे,
दुर्गे नाम का सुमिरन करो रे वंदे।
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम,
रात और सुबह
और सुबह हो शाम बोलो माँ का नाम।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नवदुर्गा देवी मैया की जय. May we have another chant and then Pandit will come up to the front. Okay, I'll pick up. You're not hearing it? That's the low. You start and I'll pick up.
हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे। हम है अकेले, हम है अधूरे, तेरी शरण हम, हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। मुनियों ने समझी, गुनियों न जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की बानी। मुनियों ने समझी, गुनियों न जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की बानी। हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। मन से हमारे मिटा के अंधेरे, हमको उजालों लोक संसार दे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नवदुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। Pandit ji, may I begin then? Today, as we had indicated before, we would move on to the 12th and 13th chapters of the Devi Mahatmya. They are wonderful because 12 starts beautifully with the words of the Devi herself. So we will join together listening to what she has to say to us. Atha dvadasham adhyayam Devi uvacha ebhi stavaishchama nityam stovyam stovyayah samahitah tasyaham sakala vadham nashiyashyam visarjayam. The Devi said, whoever with a concentrated mind shall pray to me constantly with these hymns, with these stotras, I shall without doubt put down every trouble of his. It is important to recognize what she is saying. Mere man mein Ram, tan mein Ram, रोम रोम में राम है. Our mind must be focused on what we are doing. That way we can say that God is with us. And it is not by accident, not by coincidence that she says, whoever with a concentrated mind. Prema mudita man se kaho Ram Ram Ram. Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Sita Ram Ram Ram. The bhajans tell us that we sing and our thoughts all expressed coming out from that mind. So that is where our prayer begins, not from the mouth. And that is why she is saying, those who with a concentrated mind shall pray to me. And those who shall celebrate the story of the destruction of Madhu and Kaitab, the slaughter of Mahishasur, and the slaying of Shumba and Nishumb likewise, and those who shall listen with devotion to this sublime poem on my greatness on the 8th, the 14th, and on the 9th days of the fortnight, with concentrated mind. Again, she's focusing on concentrated mind. I ask you now, where is your mind right now? Where is your mind right now? Is your mind elsewhere? Is your mind on whether or not I should be wearing a mask? Is your mind on the cup? Is your mind on the fact that we are all sitting here? Is our mind on our phones? Is our mind on our shoes outside? Where is our mind? It is pointless for us to sit in puja if our mind is not here. And Mataji is telling us, if you are to get the benefit of what has happened so far and what is to come, then your mind has to be where your body is. And your body is here in the Mandir or looking on. Then too, your mind should also be here, focusing on her. That is why we are here. We are not here to see the Baba. We are not here to see whether what type of equipment and so on we have. We are not here to see Dr. Mitra Maharaj and his Dulhin, although they're very nice to look at. We are here for Mataji today. So she says, whoever listens to this poem about my greatness, what are you listening to? About my greatness. That is why, remember in the Ramayana, Pratama Bhagati Santan Kar Sanga Dusari Rati Mama Katha Prasanga. First of all, to be with good people, Shri Ram says. But secondly is to listen to the kathas. He doesn't say go and sit down and do meditation first. He says come and listen to the kathas. You will know the greatness of the person and of the being that we are praising. To them, nothing wrong shall happen. In other words, to you who are paying attention and concentrating, nothing wrong shall happen. No calamities will arise from wrongdoings, no poverty, nor separation from beloved ones. She is not speaking about separation through death. That is something else that is inevitable. But if you listen with a concentrated mind, then these are the things which you will be blessed with, having listened to her katha as you have done. There are some of us who have been lucky enough to have the good karma to have come here every night. There are some of us who were not able to because of some circumstance. We were not able to hear the whole thing, but we have heard some of it. Mataji is saying, when you listen with love, I too will love you and look after you. He will not experience fear. Remember what I said, he includes she. So it is not only for the men. We had that discussion on Sunday morning. He will not experience fear from enemies, nor from robbers, nor from kings, nor from weapons, nor from fires, nor from flood. In other words, you will be fearless. Hence, this poem of my greatness must be chanted by men of concentrated minds. She again talks about concentration. She talks about focus. Because it is quite easy to come and listen. The Baba sing good, he didn't sing good. He spoke well, he didn't speak well. But what have we gotten from the katha? That is the important thing. Have we listened with a concentrated mind on what has to be said, and what has been said, and what has been sung? Hence, this poem of my greatness must be chanted by men of concentrated minds and listened to always with devotion, not with skepticism. If we are skeptical, that's okay. Then we are not yet ready. You know, one of the greatest illuminations that I have had, when you try to say to people, do this, don't do that, do this, whatever it is, you recognize that we are souls all together, coming from the same Bhagwan, but at different levels. So my soul might be ready for something that your soul may not be ready for. And your soul may be ready for something that my soul is not yet ready for. We don't have the same hunger. We don't have the same taste, maybe. That is which soul we are talking about. But always with devotion, once we sit down, we begin to train the soul to get back into harmony with that that divine vibration. For it is the supreme course of the well-being. May this poem of my glories, what poem are we speaking about? The Devi Mahatmya. May this poem of my glories quell all epidemic calamities. As also the threefold natural calamities. The place of my sanctuary, in other words, Tumhare bhavan mein jyot jage, in my home, in my heart, in my mandir, as we're sitting here, where this poem is duly chanted every day, I will never forsake. And there, my presence is certain. She's giving a guarantee to us that if you do all of these things, listen with a concentrated mind, have devotion, listen to my poem, in that place of sanctuary, I will never forsake, and my presence will certain. When puja is offered, that is the havan, the yajna, during worship in the havan, and at great festivals, All this poem on my axe must be chanted and heard. I will accept with love the sacrifice and worship that are made, and the fire offering that is offered likewise. What sacrifice? Sacrifice seems to be bandied about these days. That is a topic in news. That is not the sacrifice I'm speaking of. We are speaking about sacrifice dedicated to our own upliftment. We are talking about sacrifice as you have done. You have fasted during Nav Raatri. That is the sacrifice we're talking about. You have given up, as I've encouraged over the last 3 days. Some of you have followed and given up social media totally. As I say, tomorrow the world still continues to turn, and everything that is there will still remain there. And so what if we miss the last message and the last post on Instagram and whatever else that may be? That time, I did it for the past 9 days. So much extra time that I had, that instead of typing K, I could type OK. So much extra time I had that I could say a mantra if I wanted to and sang it if I wanted to, and not have to be looking at my phone. Let me see if I'm up to date with all of the newest posts. These are the sacrifices that we are giving up. These are the sacrifices that we are making. She is saying, make these sacrifices for your own elevation. I will accept with love the sacrifice and worship. Now she goes on to say the puja that you're doing. That sacrifice I'm also talking about. So that puja that you're offering every night, so many of you are coming up and offering with love, flowers, fruits, prasadam, just love coming forward, offering a little dakshina, remembering that the mandir has to run. Even when everybody goes, the mandir still has to meet its bills. And offerings are being made. That is your sacrifice. And the shrotas who are sitting here, that is your sacrifice. You have made a sacrifice to come here tonight, to pray tonight, to love God in the manner in which you have, as prescribed by our books, as prescribed in chapter 16 of our Bhagavad Gita, which tells us, follow the scriptures and do the right thing. I accept with love the sacrifices and worship that are made, and the havan that is offered likewise, whether they are done with due knowledge or not. And this is such an important point. Baba didn't know how to do it. Yeah, you still have to suffer. Do you remember the katha from Shivaratri of the hunter? Unknowingly, he sat and he did puja by offering the bay leaves on top. He didn't know he was doing puja. He still got the good karma. And sometimes, not here, but people know that they're doing something wrong, but they will say, I didn't know, you know. You still you're not absolved from it, unfortunately. She is saying, whether these things are done with due knowledge or not, so the state of mind and your state of consciousness and your state of knowledge sometimes is not an excuse for not doing the right thing. During this second Navaratri for the year, the Sharadya Navaratri, when the great worship is performed, the person hearing this glorification of mine with devotion shall certainly through my grace be delivered without doubt from all troubles and be blessed with riches, grains and children. In other words, she is saying this Sharadya Navaratri is specifically important for reciting this Devi Mahatma as we've done. We did it first of all, I did it first of all in 2019, doing it start to finish. We've done it again in 2022. And we will continue to do it as long as God gives us that opportunity to be able to sit down and listen, because she is telling us why we need to listen. Hearing this glorification and auspicious appearances of mine, and my feats of prowess in battles, a person becomes fearless. You know, I considered, and I raised it with you when I talked about when Chand and Moon died. Do you remember how they died? I was told that they're children and there's people who are sensitive. I said that their heads were chopped off and severed. And I contemplated, should I say it? And I said, it has to be said. Because ignorance cannot be allowed to sprout. And we have to understand when these things happen, people are going to ask the questions, but your religion tells you about chopping off heads. Yes, but because you don't understand what it means doesn't mean you have a right to decry my religion. Because what that symbolizes is the removal of the head of ignorance. We spoke about that when we were talking about Ganeshji, for the Ganeshji Yaj. We went into that in greater detail about why his head had to be removed, how he was ignorant at the time of what was correct and recognizing God. We spoke about that. So it is not a literal removal of the head of Chand and Moon we're talking about. It means we need to sometimes put away these thoughts and cut it out totally if we want to elevate ourselves. And that is important. That is why I had to say it. Because we have to understand that the Devi has no nonsense. As I mentioned yesterday morning, she never put up with anything. Nobody came to hit her and got away with it. She made sure, and for those, I say it and I repeat it, those who are having that same type of difficulty, get the help and move away. I spoke about that yesterday. Let enemies perish, welfare accrues, the family rejoices for those who listen to this glorification of mine. So she continues to tell us what are the blessings to come from listening to this. So little did you know when you came on the first Monday and we started that you would be getting all of these blessings by listening to it with a concentrated mind. Let one listen to this glorification of mine everywhere, at a propitiatory ceremony, on seeing bad dreams, and when there's a great evil influence of the planets. In other words, when you have a graha, this is to be said. If you get up in the night and you feel that you've gotten a bad dream, we recited the Raatri Suktam on the first or second night, which helps with your dreams. And how to refocus your mind by listening and listening to her stories of how great she is. No evil can ever touch our dreams. No evil can ever touch us. By that means, evil portents subside. Aha, see, she says that. As also the unfavorable influences of planets, so grahas will be removed. And the bad dreams seen by men turns into good dreams. It creates peacefulness in children. It seems sort of antithetical, doesn't it? It seems kind of opposite. That we are talking about this sort of violence, but it leads to good dreams for children. Yes, because the children, as we all are, know that the Divine Mother will remove all of that negativity that comes. And just by listening to her name, Om Jai Jagat Janani Ma Ambe Bhavani. That prayer, when it is said and sung, it gives us the strength to feel this happiness. It creates peacefulness in children, possessed by the seizures of children, that is the evil spirits. And I mentioned it just recently attending a funeral. Our tradition is not to carry children and so to the funeral ground. Why? Because sometimes they are disembodied souls that are looking for a home. And if the person is not strong enough, then they find that home. Children, when they go sometimes and have bad influences or bad vibrations coming from other people, those things touch onto them. So we are careful who touches our children, who plays with them. We were glad yesterday that everybody who came to do puja did so with a good heart and mind, and were caught up in puja all of the time, and prayers were being sung. Therefore, the vibration was good for them to be and allowed them to be touched. Otherwise, we don't do that. And it is in the best promotion of friendship among men when split occurs in their union. It diminishes most effectively the power of all men of evil ways. It diminishes it. So no matter how bad we think we are, if we come here to listen to Devi, there is hope for us. Verily, demons, goblins, ogres are destroyed by its mere chanting. This entire glorification of mine draws a devotee very near to me, and by means of finest cattle, flowers, herb, incense and perfumes, and lamps, by feeding the Brahmins, by oblations, by sprinkling consecrated water. We spoke about that. Which was the Devi that did it? Do we remember? Concentrated mind. Brahmani with the Kamandal. And by various other offerings and gifts, if one worships, day and night in a year, the gratification which is done to me is attained by listening but once to this holy story of mine. So what she is saying, you are going to get blessing if only you just listen to this katha once, from start to finish, as some of us have done. The chanting and hearing of the story of my manifestations removes sins and grants perfect health and protects one from evil spirits. And when my martial exploit in the form of the slaughter of the wicked deities is listened to, men will have no fear. So when you know what she's willing to do for us, when we understand and appreciate what Devi is willing to do and achieve for us, we will have no fear. And the hymns uttered by you and those by the divine sages and those by Brahma bestow a pious mind. Who is lost on a lonesome spot in a forest, or is surrounded by a forest fire, or surrounded by robbers in a desolate place, or captured by enemies, or is pursued by a lion or a tiger or by wild elephants in a forest, or under the orders of a wrathful king, or is sentenced to death, or has been imprisoned, or he is tossed about in his boat by a tempest in the vast seas, or who is in the most terrible battle under shower of weapons, or amidst all kinds of dreadful troubles, or who is afflicted with pain, such a man, on remembering the story of mine, is saved from his difficulties. Think of that whole list. I won't go through it again. But something reached out to you. You remember somebody imprisoned to death? They will be saved. How will they be saved? For you to remember the story at the time when you're imprisoned to death means that you must have listened to the story from start to finish. And if you start to finish, you listen to the whole story, then you are not going to put yourself to be imprisoned to death wrongfully. So in other words, if in some way you have been held, then for sure then Mataji, knowing that you are a true devotee who has listened and done nothing wrong, then she will save you. All of the others, people who are alone, people who are in trouble, people who have put themselves in trouble for some reason, the only reason you can be freed from remembering the story is by having listened to the story. And if you have come and listened to the story as you are doing, then you're never going to put yourself in difficulties willfully, are you? Because you will remember what she says in all of the nights that we spoke about. Through my power, robbers, enemies flee from a distance from him who remembers this story of mine. The Rishi said, having spoken thus, the adorable Chandika, fierce in prowess, vanished on that very spot even as the Devatas were gazing on. Their foes having been killed, all the Devatas were delivered from fear and all of them resumed their duties. When the exceedingly valorous Shumba and Nishum, the most fierce foes of the Devatas, had been slain by the Devi in battle, the remaining deities went away to Patal. Thus, O King, the adorable Devi, although eternal, incarnating again and again, protects the world. We spoke about this on day 2. That when she was given all of the weapons, it's not as though she was created, she already existed. All beautiful, coming together So when they say that again and again she incarnates and protects the world, we understand from day 2 when we described chapter 2. By her this universe is deluded, and it is she who creates the universe. Much to speak about in these lines. We don't have the time to. And when entreated, she bestows supreme knowledge, and when propitiated, she bestows prosperity. By her, the Mahakali, who takes the form of the great destroyer at the end of time, all this cosmic sphere is pervaded. So beautiful, such a wonderful topic to speak about. Children who are here, you should write an essay about this shlok. It means you have to go and research about astronomy, understand about quasars, black holes, all of those things, and then how Kali Mata features in that. She indeed takes the form of the great destroyer at the proper time. She, the unborn, indeed becomes its creation at the time proper for recreation. So again, it is telling us about the cycle of birth and death. We spoke about that as well during Ganeshji time. What was the word for reincarnation that we prefer? Punarjanma. Remember that word? Punarjanma. Reincarnation, as I explained to you, was such a harsher word. Punarjanma, we spoke about that. She herself, the eternal being, sustains the beings at another time. In times of prosperity, she is indeed Lakshmi Mata, who bestows prosperity in the homes of men. And in times of misfortune, she herself becomes a goddess of misfortune and brings about ruin. So in the same way, she uplifts you. If you do things that are not right, she can bring you down. When praised and worshipped with flowers, incense, perfumes, she bestows wealth and sons and a mind bent on righteousness and prosperous life. Ghanti, iti Shri Markandeya Purane, Savarnike Manvantare, Devi Mahatmane, Phalastuti Narnamam, Buddhyatma, Dwadash Adhyaya Samaptam. Prem se bolo Shri Navadurga Devi Maya ki Jai. Havan. इति शब्दो हर लक्ष्मी वदह कूल विनाशका अध्यायो हरेत प्राण मार्कंडे आदि वदेत. ओम जय जय मार्कंडे पुराणे सावर्ण के मनवंतरे देवी महात्मने सत्या संतु मम. Take your names in your mind. Kama Shri. When I say Swaha, then you will make your offering. Klim Jayanti Sangaya Sayudhaya Sashaktikaya Saparivaraya Savahanaye Lakshmi Bija Dhishtraye Garuravahini Narayani Divyai Maha Ahuti Samarpyami Namah Swaha. Again, Klim Jayanti Sangaya Sayudhaya Sashaktikaya Saparivaraya Savahanaye Varada Pradaya Vaishnavi Divyai Maha Ahuti Samarpyami Namah Swaha. Ambe Bhavani Maya, Ambe Bhavani, Ambe Bhavani Maya, Ambe Bhavani, Jagajanani Ma, Ambe Bhavani, Jagajanani Ma, Ambe Bhavani, Jagajanani Ma, Ambe Bhavani. Atha Trayodashi Adhyaya, this is the last chapter. Rishir Uvacha Sarva Mangal Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. The Rishi said, I have now narrated to you, O King, the sublime poem in the glory of the Devi. Which Rishi? We have to come from day 1 with our notebook and write down all these things because we're getting tests on day 13, on day 9, I'm sorry. Medhas Rishi, I heard the name. We heard the name Vasudha, Vishnu. The Devi is endowed with such majestic power. By her this world is upheld. Knowledge is similarly conferred by her, the elusive power of Bhagavan Vishnu. By her, you, this merchant. Do you remember the name of the merchant? Samadhi. And do you remember the name of the king? Suratha. Very nice. Excellent. People were not sleeping. By you, this merchant and other men of discrimination are being deluded, and others were deluded in the past and will be deluded in the future. O great king, take refuge in her, the supreme Ishwari. She indeed, when worship bestows on men enjoyment, heaven, and final release. Markandeya said to his disciple Bhagudi, O great king, O great sage, King Suratha, who had become despondent consequent on his excessive attachment and deprivation of his kingdom, and the merchant, having heard the speech, prostrated before the illustrious Rishi of severe penances and immediately repaired to perform austerities. Do you remember what was said on day one? When we sat and we spoke about the two of them meeting, two men of different upbringings and backgrounds coming together to share a common problem of being deprived of that which they thought was important. They now had a chance to listen to the whole Katha, to the whole Devi Mahatam. We are those two men. We are Surat. We are Samadhi. Because we feel lost and deluded, having lost all of those things and been deprived of attachment. My family not taking me on, this not listening to me, I'm losing everything in my job, I'm not doing well, I feel everything is against me. And by coming now and listening to Mataji and seeing what she can do and how she blesses us, do we see the whole story now coming together into our own life? Both king and the merchant, in order to obtain a vision of Amba, stationed themselves on the sandbank of a river and practiced penances, chanting the Devi Suktam, the hymn to the Devi. Having made an earthen image of the Devi on the sands of the river, they both worshipped her with flowers, incense, fire, and libation of water. So they offered flowers and fruits and incense and did puja for her on the bank of the river. Abstaining from food, restraining in their food, with their minds on her and with concentration, they offered sacrifices. When they with controlled minds prayed to her for 3 years, Chandika, the upholder of the world, was well pleased and spoke to them in visible form. What, for 3 years you did puja? Think about it. Our children go to school for 5 and 7, 12 years studying. How do we study? How do we teach them? What do we teach them about? What is important? Who is important? What comes first? We sometimes forget. Baba, during our term, the children had lessons. Yeah, but that's 9 days out of 365 days. Well, 9 and 9, 18 days out of, there are 2 Navratris, 18 days out of 365 days. If you calculate how much time the children spent on playing games and watching TV and on social media, it works up to more than those 18 days. I had the calculation before. I put it before you when we discussed it. I think it comes up to about 2 months for the year spent in wasting time on things that doesn't uplift you. So for an hour and a half for 9 days, we can't bring them? Think about it. We have to bring them to help them to understand what is important, and if they run into difficulties, where to turn. Not this friend and that friend, but this Devi and that Devi. That is the lesson. So we also, when we look at our children and we look at our community, We can't, as I said before, we are all at different levels. Our souls are all at different levels. We have different needs. I can tell you as much as I want about the glories of Devi. And we could leave here and start to do something else that is not inclined to her. We are all at different levels. But for us to try to get back, then we have to come here. That is why yesterday I said, for those parents who brought their 9 daughters, bring them again and again and again. Help us to look after them. Help us as a community to guide them and to be there for them. And help those children to grow up knowing what is right. And if things happen to them, where to come if they get problems. Don't go into psychotropic things that we have to take to alter our minds. Keep the mind unconcentrated. That is why in 12 she talked about concentration and focus. How do we concentrate and focus? You have to come here to hear about it. So for 3 years they did puja. O Devi, what you solicit, O king, and you, the delight of your family, receive it. The Devi appeared to them. The Devi appears. Today I was reading the story of Krishna. And listening, I was sitting waiting, so I got a chance to listen to it. And it is a wonderful story of a person who grew up thinking one way and being illumined by the vision of the Mataji to the extent that he changed his entire outlook on life and how he viewed community and people, and sent out his disciples like Swami Vivekananda to change the world. Markandeya said, then the king chose a kingdom. So, exactly what I was just saying. Having listened to all of that, Devi comes to them, both of them, and says, what do you want? And Suratha, having listened to everything, says, I want a kingdom. I want a kingdom which is imperishable even in another life and in his life itself. His own kingdom, wherein the power of his enemies is destroyed by force. So the problem I'm talking about is not something that is new. Even those two who sat down to listen to the same story, listen to the same Devi, one of them, when finished, still wanted a kingdom. Then the wise merchant Samadhi, whose mind was full of dispassion for the world, chose the knowledge which removes the attachment in the form of mine and I. And the Devi said, O king, after slaying your foes, in a few days you will obtain your kingdom. It will last you there. And when you have passed on, you will gain another birth from the Dev Vivaswat, and shall be a Manu on the earth by the name of Savarni. And O best of merchants, I grant you the boon which you have desired of me. Supreme knowledge shall be yours for your self-realization. Having thus granted them both the boon that they each desired, the Devi disappeared forthwith, and they extolled her with devotion. Having thus gained the boon from the Devi, Suratha, the foremost of Kshatriyas, shall obtain a new birth through Surya and his wife Savarna, and shall be the Manu, named Savarni, and shall be called the Manu Savarni. Ghanti iti Shri Markande Purane Savarnike Manvantare Devi Mahatmane Suratha Vaishya Parapradhane Nam Trayodash Adhyay Shri Saptashati Devi Mahatmyam Samaptah. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Tat Sat Om. Havan. Om. Iti Shabdo Hari Lakshmi Badha Kali Kula Vinashakah Adhyayo Hare Pranam Markande Adikam Vadet. Om Jai Jai Markande Purane Savarnike Manvantare Devi Mahatmane Satya Santu Mama. Take your names in your mind. Kamah Shri. This now will be our final offering of Ahuti. Om क्लीं जयंती सांगाय सायुधाय सशक्तिकाय सपरिवाराय सवाहनाय श्रीविद्यायै महा आहुति समर्पयामि। नमः शिवाय। ओम स्वाहा। ओम प्राणाय स्वाहा, अपानाय स्वाहा, व्यानाय स्वाहा। अम्बे अंबिके अम्बालिके नमानयति कश्चन स्वस्कधुबद्धकाम कापीलनम स्वाहा। ओम घृतं घृतपावनाः पिबतामवासं वसपावना पिबतातरिक्षस्य हवीरसि स्वाहा। दिशः प्रदिशः आदिशो त्वदिशो आधृशो दिग्भ्य स्वाहा। At the end, Panditji, do we have a coconut? So we'll see. That will be done when you do at the end. Very, very well. Prem se bolo Shri Navadurga Devi Maya ki Jai. You have listened. For the 9 nights we have spoken, we have sung. We have gotten the blessing. We understand now why it was important to have done what we did. So we know that we may probably in our mind want to take the sankalp that next year for sure we sit in here from 1 to 9. Days 1 to days 9 and listening to it again and getting the blessings and listening to what it means to us. So as we now invite, as I invite everyone now to come forward, as we have done in the nights before, row by row to offer puja. Bhajans will be sung, chants will be sung, and we will continue doing our puja. I suppose I can start with the Argala Stotra. We spoke about this Om Namah Shivaya. Hold on a second. There are certain things that we need to say tonight. So we need to start tonight with the Siddhi Kuntika Stotram. So Vasudha Devi.
शिव उवाच शृणु देवी प्रवक्ष्यामि कुञ्जिकास्तोत्रमुत्तमं येन मन्त्रप्रभावेन छन्दिजापशुभो भवेत्। नाकवचं नार्गलास्तोत्रं कीलकं नारहस्यकं न सुक्तं नापि ध्यानं च न न्यासो न च वर्जनं। कुञ्जिकापातमात्रेण दुर्गापातफलं लभे अतिगुह्यतरं देवी देवानाम् अपि दुर्लभं। गोपनीयं प्रयत्नेन स्वयोनिरिव पार्वती मारणं मोहनं वश्यं स्तम्भदौचादनाधिकं पाठमात्रेण संसिध्येत् कुञ्जिकास्तोत्रमुत्तमम्। अथ मन्त्रः ॐ ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डायै विच्चे ॐ ग्लौं हुं क्लीं जुं सः ज्वालय ज्वालय ज्वल ज्वल प्रज्वल प्रज्वल ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डायै विच्चे ज्वल हं सं लं क्षं फट् स्वाहा। अतिमन्त्रः नमस्ते रुद्ररूपिण्यै नमस्ते मधुमर्दिनी नमः कैतवहारिण्यै नमस्ते महिषार्दिनी नमस्ते शुम्भहान्त्रे च निशुम्भासुरघातिनी। जागृतं हि महादेवी जपं सिद्धं कुरुष्व मे। ऐंकारी सृष्टिरूपायै ह्रींकारी प्रतिपालिका क्लींकारी कामरूपिण्यै बीजरूपे नमोऽस्तु ते। चामुण्डा छन्दगाति च यैकारी वरदायिनी विच्चे चाभयदा नित्यं नमस्ते मन्त्ररूपिणी। धाम धीं धूम दुर्जते पत्नी वां वीं वूं वागीश्वरी क्रां क्रीं क्रूं कालिका देवी शां शीं शूं मे शुभं कुरु हुं हुं हुंकाररूपिण्यै जं 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 भनादिनी भ्रां भ्रीं भ्रूं भैरवी भद्रे भवान्यै ते नमो नमः अं कं चं तं पं यं ह्रीं वीं धूं ऐं वीं हं क्षं द्विजाग्रं त्रोतय दीपं कुरु स्वाहा पां पीं पूं पार्वती पूर्ण खां हीं घूं केचरी तथा सां सीं सुं सप्तशती देवी मन्त्रसिद्धं कुरुष्व मे इदं तु कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रम् मन्त्रजागृति हेतवे अभक्तैनैव दातव्यं गोपितं रक्ष पार्वती यस्तु कुञ्जिकया देवी लीलां सप्तशतीं पतेत् न तस्य जायते सिद्धिररण्ये रोदनं यथा ॐ इति श्रीरुद्रयामले गौरीतन्त्रे शिवपार्वती संवादे सिद्धकुञ्जिकास्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नव दुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। The Siddha Kunjika Stotram is said in this manner, and when you look at it, when the mantra is being said, Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaya Viche, but before going back into the mantra, Om Glom Hum Klim Jum Sah Jwale, so it's as though she is taking you first of all through the different vibrations of all these Bij mantras, creating and unlocking the magic of the mantra. And by going and getting all these different vibrations, that is why you are hearing the Bij mantras which are being said, all creating different vibrations, all meaning and opening different locks. So it's like a combination lock. Jai Devi Maya. And then you come to the mantra itself, Navarna mantra. And then it says, having reached to her, Jagratam, please awaken in me now, Devi. Now that I have come, I've gotten all these vibrations, please awaken in me so that I too will be awakened. Khanda Saubhagyavati Jai Devi Maya. So that is the greatness of the Siddhi Kunjika Stotram. Prem se bolo Shri Nav Durga Devi Maya ki Jai. Can we have bhajan? I will find one to sing as well. Families who are coming,
मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा। राह में तेरे मैं पल के बिछाऊं, आग वादी तेरे वादी वादी जाऊं, राह में तेरे में पल के बिछाऊं, आग वादी तेरे वादी वादी जाऊं। आजा भवानी मैया तुझको भुलाऊं, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा। जन्म जन्म से आस लगी है, तेरे दरस की प्यास लगी है, जन्म जन्म से आस लगी मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा। आजा करके शेर सवारी, दिखला दो सूरतिया प्यारी। आजा करके शेर सवारी, दिखला दो सूरतिया प्यारी। अब तो सुन ले बिनती हमारी, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा। ये मेरे दो छंछल नैना, दर्शन बिन पाए ना छैना। ये मेरे दो चंचल नैना, दर्शन बिन पाए ना छैना। ना माने ये मेरा कहना, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा, मोहे मैया मोरे अंगना दरस दिखा।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नवदुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। हरिओम। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता, नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। दुर्गा दुर्गति दूर कर, मंगल कर सब काज। मन मंदिर उज्ज्वल करो, कृपा कर के आज। ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे, चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं, सब अंधकार मिटा दे मैया, सब अंधकार मिटा दे मैया। दरस तेरा कर पाऊं मैं, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया। क्यों आया हूँ कहा है जाना, यह भी ना मैं जान सका, यह भी ना मैं जान सका। तू है अगम अगोचर मैया, कहो कैसे लख पाऊँ मैं। तू है अगम अनोचर मैया, तू है अगम अगोचर मैया, कहाँ कैसे लख पाऊँ मैं। ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया। कर कृपा जगदम्ब भवानी, मैं बालक नादान हूँ, मैं बालक नादान हूँ। नहीं आराधन जप तप जानूं, चरणों में लग जाऊं मैं। I think I mixed the words up there. Hold on, I missed it. दे ऐसा वरदान है मैया, दे ऐसा वरदान है मैया, सुमिरन तेरा गाऊं मैं। ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया। सब लोके लग जाऊं मैं, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया। चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया। प्रेम से बोलो श्री जगदम्बा माता की जय। Shall we sing भोर चले भोर भये दिन? Is that a yes? And once you're ready with bhajans, just let me know. We're going to sing Chalisa. Hari Om Tat Sat. That is the Shakti of Devi. Durgayai Durgaparayai Sa. Is it too high? Durgayai Durgaparayai Sarayai Sarvakarinyai Kyathai Tathaiva Krishnayai Dhumrayai Satatam Namaha. Namo Namo Durge Sukhakarani, Namo Namo Ambe Dukharani.
निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी, तीन लोक फैली उजियारी। शशिललाट मुख महाविशाला, नेत्र लाल भृकुटी विकराला। रूप मात को अधिक सुहावे, दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे।
तुम संसार शक्ति लय कीन्हा, पालन हेतु अन्न धन दीना। अन्नपूर्णा हुई जगपाला, तुम हो आदि सुंदरी बाला। प्रलय काल सब नाशनहारी, तुम गौड़ी शिव शंकर प्यारी। शिव योगी तुम्हारे गुण गावे, ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित्य ध्यावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। रूप सरस्वती का तुम धारा, दे सुबुद्धि ऋषि मुनि न उबारा, धरो रूप नरसिंह का अम्बा, परगत भय भाल के खम्बा, रक्षा कर प्रहलाद बचायो, हिरण्याकश को स्वर्ग पठायो, लक्ष्मी रूप धरो जग माहि, श्री नारायण अंग समाहि, जय अम्बे
ओ मैया
जय
जगदम्बे,
मैया जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे।
क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा, दया सिंधु दीजे मन आसा, हिंगलाज में तुम ही भवानी, महिमा अमित न जात बखानी, मातंगी धूमावती माता, भुवनेश्वरी बगला सुखदाता, श्री भैरव तारा जगतारण, छिन्न भाल भव दुख निवारण, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। हे हरि वाहन सोहे भवानी, लांगुर वीर चलत अगवाणी, कर में खप्पर खड्ग विराजे, जाभो देख काल दरबाजे, सोहे और अष्ट त्रिशूला, चाटे उठत शत्रु ही अशूला, नगर कोट में तुम ही विराजत, दीन हु लोक में डंका बाजत, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे, रक्त बीज संघन संहारे, महिषासुर नृप अति अभिमानी, जेहि अगवार मही अकुलानी, रूप कराकाली को धारा, सेन सहित तुम तेहि संहारा, पड़ी गार संतन पर जब जब, भय साहे मातु तुम तब तब, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय
अम्बे जगदम्बे।
अभड़ पुड़ी अरवा सब लोका, तब महिमा सब कहे अशोका, ज्वाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारी, तुम ही सदा पूजत नर नारी, प्रेम भक्ति से जो जस गावे, दुख दारिद्र निकट नहीं आवे, ध्यावे तुम जो नर मन लाई, जन्म मरण तीन सो छुट जाई, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। योगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकारी, योग न होई बिन शक्ति तुम्हारी, शंकर आचार्य तप कीनो, काम क्रोध जीते सब लीनो, निश दिन ध्यान धरत शंकर को, काहू काल नहीं सुमिरो तुमको, शक्ति रूप को मर मन पायो, शक्ति गई तब मन पछतायो, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शरणागत हुई कीर्ति बखानी, जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी, भय प्रसन्नादि जगदम्बा, दई शक्ति नहीं कीन विलंबा, मोको मात कष्ट अति घेरो, तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख मेरो, आशा तृष्णा निपत सतावे, रिपु मूरत मोहि अति दर पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी, सुमिरो एक चित तुम्हें भवानी। करो कृपा हे मातु दयाला, रिद्धि सिद्धि दे करहु निहाला। जब लग जियो दया फल पाऊं, तुम्हारो यश में सदा सुनाऊं। दुर्गा चालीसा जो गावे, सब सुख भोग परम पर पावे। देवी दास शरण निज जानी, करहु कृपा जगदम्ब भवानी। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नवदुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। I like this bhajan. It is a bhajan in which we say goodbye to Mataji. That for these 9 days we've been able to do puja, we've been able to sing, we've been able to glorify her. I miss my sister. विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरी मैया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। विदाई से आज मोरी, विदाई से आज मोरी भर आई अखिया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। 9 दिन माई तेरे सेवा से बीते, अब कैसे विरहा के तेरे बीते। 9 दिन माई तेरी सेवा में बीते, आंखें अब कैसे विरहा के पैर रहते। तुझ बिन लगेगे माई, तुझे बिन लगेगी माई, सुने सुने गलिया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। आज चली रे धाम भवानी, सुनो करा के आज भवानी। आज चली रे धाम भवानी, सुना करके आज भवानी। जाई सही न माई ओ, leaving is not right. जाए सही ना माई विरह की धरिया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया। विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया विदाई से आज मोरी विदाई से आज मोरी भर आए अखियाँ विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया विसर्जन हो चली रे मोरे मैया चली रे मोरे मैया चली रे मोरे मैया। प्रेम से बोलो श्री नव दुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। चांत भजन स्तोत्र
जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे मातु भवानी
जय अम्बे
जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे
जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जय अम्बे
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
लोक संहारिणी जय अम्बे
लोक संहारिणी जय अम्बे
लोक संहारिणी जय अम्बे
लोक संहारिणी जय अम्बे जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति हारिणी जय अम्बे
दुर्गति
हारिणी जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे
पाप विमोचनि जय अम्बे जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे जय अम्बे मातु भवानी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
जगद उद्धारिणी जय अम्बे
लोक संहारिणी जय अम्बे
भवानी जय अम्बे,
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे,
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे,
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे,
मातु भवानी जय अम्बे।
प्रेम से बोलो श्री नव दुर्गा देवी मैया की जय। We will sing Bhor Bhai. Hari Om. Is it too high for me if I sing it normally? Okay. What I like about this bhajan, it talks about Meri Amba. It talks about my Devi, my mother, my divine mother. So it's not a separation. It is someone, a being who we bring close to us. Bhor bhaye din char gaya meri ambe, Bhor bhaye din char gaya meri ambe, हो रही जय जय कार मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, हे दरबारा वाली आरती जय माँ, हे पहाड़ा वाली आरती जय माँ। गया मेरी अम्बे, और गए दिन चल गया मेरी अम्बे, हो रही जय जय कार मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, हे दरबारा वाली आरती जय माँ, हे पहाड़ा वाली आरती जय माँ। काहे दे मैया तेरी आरती बनावा, काहे दे मैया तेरी आरती बनावा, काहे दे पावा विच बाती मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, सोहे चोले वाली आरती जय माँ, हे माँ पारा वाली आरती जय माँ। सर्व सुने दे तेरा आरती बनावा, सर्व सुने दे तेरा आरती बनावा, अगर कपूर पावा बाती मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, हे माँ पिंदी रानी आरती जय माँ, हे पहाड़ा वाली आरती जय माँ। कौन सुहागन देवा बालिया मेरी मैया, कौन सुहागन देवा बालिया मेरी मैया, कौन जागेगा सारी रात मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, सचिया जोता वाली आरती
जय माँ,
हे पहाड़ा वाली आरती जय माँ। सर्व सुहागन देवा बालिया मेरी अम्बा, सर्व सुहागन देवा बालिया
मेरी अम्बा,
जोत जागेगे सारी रात मंदिर विच आरती जय माँ, हे माँ त्रिकुटा रानी आरती जय माँ, हे पहाड़ा वाली आरती जय माँ। जुग जुग जीवय तेरा जमुदे राजा, जुग जुग जीवे तेरा जमुई दराजा। जिस तेरा भवन बनाया मंदिर विच, आरती जय माँ। हे मेरी अम्बे रानी, आरती जय माँ। हे पहाड़ा वाली, आरती
जय माँ।
सिमर चरण तेरा ध्यानु यश गावे। सिमर चरण तेरा ध्यानु यश गावे। जो ध्यावे सोयो फल रखब ना, जो ध्यावे सोयो यो फल पावे। रखबनी दाने लाज मंदिर विच, आरती जय माँ। सोने मंदिर वाली, आरती जय माँ। भोर भये दिन चढ़ गया मेरी अम्बे, भोर भये दिन चढ़ गया मेरी अम्बे। हो रही जय जय कार मंदिर विच, आरती जय माँ। हे दरबारा वाली, आरती जय माँ। हे पहाड़ा वाली, आरती जय माँ। हे दरबारा वाली, आरती
जय माँ।
हे पहाड़ा वाली, आरती जय माँ। It is a prayer of love and devotion, of accepting the light of Devi Maya in your life. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके, शरण्ये त्र्यंबिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके, शरण्ये त्र्यंबिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके, शरण्ये त्र्यंबिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके, शरण्ये त्र्यंबिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। नारायणी नमोस्तुते, नारायणी नमोस्तुते। प्रेम से बोलो श्री जगदम्बा मैया की जय। I will now hand over to Pandit ji.
Tonight we come to our final offering, or Purnahuti. For many of you, you've come over the preceding nights and you've offered your puja, your love, your adoration. For many of you, you've offered your puja at home as well, in your puja rooms and so on. And tonight, as we conclude with our final havan, as we conclude with our final offering, we give thanks to the Divine Mother for the opportunity to come together, to offer our love together, to offer together as one family. And as we've done so with that love, and listened to her glories as beautifully expounded by Panditji, we are hopefully uplifted, enlightened, and protected by her grace and by her mercy. In our daily lives, whatever difficulties we may encounter, whatever anxieties, whatever sankat, we know with her blessing that indeed all of these things will be overcome. So I invite you to stand now as we engage in final offering. Hari Om. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Ratri Swaha Swada Namostute. Om Purnamadat Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudakshate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamivavashishyate. Om Sarvame Purnahum स्वाहा. Achman. Om सर्वपापहरं देव्यं गंगेयं निर्मलं जलम् आचमनीयं आरतं गृहाणा परमेश्वरम् आचमनीयम् आचमनीयं समर्पयामि आचमनीयं समर्पये. ओम वनस्पतिर्रसोद्भूतो गन्धायो गन्धुतमः अर्घ्या देवानां धूपोऽयं परिगृह्यताम् धूपं दर्शये. Wherever you are, direct both your palms and seek that divine energy, that blessing. Om Shri Analai Namo Namaha. Arti Bhajan.
जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी. तुमको निस्वन ध्यावत हरि ब्रह्मा शिव जी. तुमको
निस दिन ध्यावत हरि ब्रह्मा शिव जी. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
मांग सिंदूर विराजत तीको मृग मद को. मांग सिंदूर विराजत
तीको मृग मद को. उज्ज्वल से दो नैना चंद्र वदननी को.
उज्ज्वल से दो नैना
चंद्र वदननी को. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
कनक समान कलेवर रतांबर राजे.
कनक समान कलेवर रतांबर राजे.
रत पुष्प गलमाला कंतन पर साजे. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी. हे हरि वाहन राजत कर कपर धारी. हे हरि वाहन राजत कर कपर धारी. सुर नर मुनि जन सेवक तिनके दुख हारी. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
शुंभ निशुंभ विरारे महिषासुर घाती.
शुंभ निशुंभ विरारे महिषासुर घाती.
धूम्र विलोचन नैना निषदिन मदमाती. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया,
जय श्यामा गौरी.
चाओ सतयोगिनी गावत नृत्य करत भैरो.
योगिनी गाहत नित्य परम भैरो.
बाजत ताल मृदंगा और बाजत डमरू.
जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
भुजाचार अति शोभित करग खपर धारी. भुजाचार अति शोभित
करग कबर धारी.
वनवांचित फल पावत सेवक नर नारी. जय
अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी.
कंचन थाल विराजत अगर कपूर बाती. कंचन थाल विराजत
अगर कपूर बाती.
माल के तुमेरा जत होती रतन ज्योति. जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा
जय श्यामा गौरी।
यहाँ अम्बे जी की आरती जो कोई नर गावे,
यहाँ अम्बे जी की आरती जो कोई नर गावे।
कहत शिवानंद स्वामी सुख संपत्ति पावे। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। ओम जय अम्बे गौरी, ओम जय अम्बे गौरी, ओम जय अम्बे गौरी, ओम जय अम्बे गौरी।
Om. We pray to her in the Devi Aparadha Kshamapam Stotram that if in any way we have made any mistakes, please forgive us, please bless us, please guide us and protect us and be with us always, because we don't know the mantras, we don't know all of the yantras, all we know is how to love you. Na mantram no yantram tadapi chan jane stuti maho na chahvanam dhyanam tadapi chan jane stuti katha na jane mudra se तदपि च न जाने विलेपनम् परां जाने मातः स्वरनुस्मरणं क्लेशहरणम् विधेरज्ञानेन द्रविण विरहेणालसतया विधेया शक्त्या तव चरणयोर्याच्युतिरिभूत यदेतत्क्षन्तव्यं जननी सकलोद्धारिणि शिवे कुपुत्रो जायेत क्वचिदपि कुमाता न भवति।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय।
Before we close, Panditji, can I just ask that they all be sprinkled with the divine water, so we may all get the blessing from having done puja for all of these nights. Om Shiva Hare Shiva Rama Sake Prabhu Trividhatapa Nivarana He Vibho Aj Janeshwar Yadav Pahi Ma Shiva Hare Vijayam Guru Mevaram Kamalalocan Rama Dayanidhe Har Guru Gajavatrapa Gopate Shivatano भवशङ्कर पाहि मां शिव हरे विजयं
गुरुमेवरं
शिव हरे विजयं गुरु
गुरुमेवरं
गणपति गिरिजा वृषभध्वज शनमुखो नन्दी मुखदिम्दिमा मनुजमाल त्रिशूलमृगस्त्वच प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जयमङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जयमङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जयमङ्गलम् ॐ मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरि ऋग्वेद आयुर्वेद सामवेद अथर्वणः इति मंगलाष्टक संपूर्ण गंगा जमुना सरस्वती संगमे फल प्राप्ति कामः यजमान आशीर्वाद भगवान कल्याण करो। प्रेम से बोलो श्री गणेश भगवान की, श्री उमापति महादेव की, श्री वृंदावन विहारी लाल की, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की, श्री महादुर्गा देवी मैया की, महासरस्वती माता की, महालक्ष्मी माता की, सर्वदेव सर्वदेवी की, सत्य सनातन धर्म की, सत्य सनातन धर्म की, सत्य सनातन धर्म की, सदगुरु की दंडवत। जय जय सीताराम। सीताराम सब कोई। सीताराम to everyone who is here. Turn to each and every one. May God bless you, guide you, and protect you. Pandit ji, can you give us your last blessings, your blessings for today? Sorry.
Brothers and sisters, it is indeed bittersweet that we have come to the end of this wonderful, wonderful yajna, where we are able to come and to perform puja, to listen to the glories of the Divine Mother, to listen and to sing her name and praises as well. It is with good fortune that we've been able to come every night and to listen and to imbibe and hopefully to put into practice that which we've learned. To all of you who've come each and every night, to all of you who have contributed in some way through the decorations, through the preparations, we want to wish you the Devi Mata's blessings, that you would continue to do the good and the noble and the wonderful work. To all of our shrottas who sat every night, we want to thank them and their family members for providing all of the wonderful hospitality and for being here and performing the puja with such devotion, with such bhav. We also want to extend our thanks to all of the members of the group, although we are a little depleted, but Indira and family, Mala, Vineet and Surin, and all of the wonderful persons who joined this evening. We give them all our praise and glories. I want to pay special thanks to Anilji and his wife Asha. And I always make the point that when I come here at 5 o'clock or 5:15 before anybody else is here, that the area for puja and all of the preparations are in place and as they should be. And it is only when we recognize the importance of that seva that we can truly be appreciative. So Anilji, from the depths of my heart, thank you very, very much for the wonderful work that you do. To our Vyas, our Panditji, who has been with us for all of the nights and who has been with us Sunday morning as well, reading from the pages of the Devi Mahatmya, and indeed enlightening us and providing that inspiration and those life lessons that we can hopefully take in and put into practice as we go about our daily living, to be strengthened by the glory of the Divine Mother. May Durga Mata bless you, Panaji, and your family to continue finding the time and making the time to do this wonderful, wonderful work. Tonight, I also want to extend very special birthday greetings to a young lady, the Dulahan of Dindial, and I know her as Toi, so I will call her Toi. Toi celebrates her birthday today, so we want to wish her a very, very happy birthday. Dindial, Darial, and Toi are wonderful members of this Mandir, and Toi, we want to wish you the Devi Mata's blessings, that you continue to enjoy all of the good and all of the noble things in this life. To all of you, if I have forgotten anyone, please forgive me, and I want to wish you all the Devi Mata's blessings. To all of you, may you continue to enjoy her grace and her blessing at all times. Jai Sitaram, everyone. Please, when you leave here tonight, arrive safely at your destinations and have a very wonderful and powerful day. And we look forward to seeing you all on Sunday when we have our abbreviated service, but we also have our breakfast, our takeaway fundraiser, and we look forward to your assistance. I want to also mention a special guest, Mr. Rajiv Sankar, who is with us this evening. He has a blog on YouTube where he is highlighting the wonderful mandirs and of this mandir amongst other things. So he will be doing, I think, a short clip of this mandir as well. So you can look onto YouTube, and I think it's Temple Hopping. Temple Hopping, you just click to that and you will get the segment that will be done, hopefully on the mandir. So please, thank you very much. Bye. Continue the wonderful seva. Jai Sitaram, everyone.
Bye.
Refreshments have been provided for you as you leave this evening. Please partake.
Before we go, so you're doing a tirt. So we wouldn't say mandir hopping, we say you're doing a tirt, going from mandir to mandir. It would be remiss of me and for us if we were to leave this evening without saying thank you very much to our Panditji. He has, together with his Dharam Patni, been the life force, the very thread, the blood that flows through this mandir to ensure that everything is done properly and correctly. The songs and the chalisas that are sung by Neela, and the puja and the prayers and the mantras that are being recited by Panditji are an inspiration to all of us, and their lives are an inspiration to all of us. And importantly, we know that when we come here, we will see Pandit Undranath sitting here, calmly, serenely, peacefully, but confidently. We are all confident that when we come here, puja is being done, and we feel better for it. So I want to tell you, not because you're my brother-in-law, but we love you and we love what you do for us. So thank you very much, Panditji.